all, it's Nim or Nimicry if you're feeling professional, and welcome to the YouTube video. Now today, we're going to be talking about the Reaper. It's the final job that's being added in Endwalker, and coincidentally, it's the final class preview video I'll be doing for Endwalker. You may think I lined this up to match. I did not. This is pure coincidence. I didn't think that far ahead, though it would be cool because a Reaper tends to end things. That would have been great, but it's all coincidence, so I can't take credit for it. If you like what I do, though, or if you like the channel in general, go on and hit subscribe and hit that notification bell to stay up to date with everything the channel does. In addition, I've been told to plug this more. I stream on Twitch every Friday, Saturday, and Sunday at 6 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Friday and Sunday are Final Fantasy XIV, and Saturday is a kind of a roulette with a little variety thing there. If you like that or you like me, go on and check that at twitch.tv/Nimicry. Finally, you will see a list of people on screen right now. Those are my patrons. Those wonderful people support a small creator like myself, so thank you for that. If you'd like to join their ranks, you can go to patreon.com/Nimicry. But let's talk about the Reaper. The Reaper. So most classes in Final Fantasy XIV have a callback to an earlier Final Fantasy, be it the Black Mage, the White Mage, the Dark Knight, the Paladin, the Machinist. All of those classes have some type of established class fantasy. As to my knowledge, the Reaper doesn't. So, a new archetype just for the MMO? Yeah, we're for it. So let's see how this goes. So this being a new job, there are big takeaways and general functions of the Reaper's unique capabilities. So, broadly speaking, Reaper relies on building and expending the Soul Gauge, it's the red top bar, and the Shroud Gauge, bottom blue bar, with various weapon skills. So if you've played Machinist, you are already familiar with those two bars. They're heat and battery. Well, except for the Reaper, it's Soul Gauge and Shroud Gauge. Perfect. Basic GCDs and off GCDs feed into Soul. Upon reaching 50 Soul points, you're granted strong attacks like Bloodstock for your single target, Grim Scythe for your Cone AoE, which then activate the Soul Reaver effect. So build up your Soul, either single target or Cone AoE, which is interesting, it's a Cone AoE. And then under Soul Reaver, you can use Gallows, single target rear, Gibbet, single target flank, or Guillotine, Cone AoE. If you're a melee DPS, you are already used to positionals. Anybody who's not a melee DPS, positionals mean you attack from a specific direction and you get bonus damage, which all feed into Shroud. The catch is, with Gallows and Gibbet, they turn into enhanced versions after using the other, meaning you're encouraged to alternate between the two to deal extra damage. So I'd start off, hypothetically, so boss gets pulled, tank spins, got the rear, I use my Soul Reaver effect, I Gallows from the rear, then I move into Gibbet from the flank, and I alternate between the two. Now, that's the way to build Shroud. By doing that, I build Shroud. Upon 50 Shroud, I then can go the Enshrouded phase. Activating Enshroud is my burst damage window. I have 30 seconds to expend Lemur Shroud by using attacks Cross Reaping and Void Reaping, single target, that also get enhanced when alternating between each other. So I like that they're keeping that same mechanic, because that way you don't have to teach yourself to do something different. It just is, no, this is enhanced, this is an enhanced version of this, and this is an enhanced version of that, and you alternate between those two things. Essentially, they're the same thing, but one uses a different meter. Perfect. And then, of course, the Grim Reaping Cone AoE. I like that they both have Cone AoEs in case you have big tanks that do big wall-to-wall pulls, and you're like, I need to look, I would love to get extra damage on a single target, but right now, AoE is going to be a net positive, so we're going to whoosh, 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 whoosh. There's a technical term for reaping. Whoosh. Remember that. Technical term. Past level 80, you're given an extra layer of skills to execute while in the Enshrouded phase, providing a bit more complexity and damage opportunity. Using the aforementioned attacks while enshrouded leaves behind Void Shroud points. These can be used for additional attacks called Lemur Slice, single target, or Lemur Scythe, Cone AoE. You'll be doing a lot of weaving at this point. Lastly, Bloodstock will switch to Unveiled Gallows and or Unveiled Gibbet at level 90 when alternating properly between Gallows and Gibbet. This will further ease your ability to maintain the Soul Reaver effect. See, I like that. So at level 90, it becomes easier to keep Soul Reaver up. We like that. That way, think of it, today I got Enochian, and I was practicing with Enochian with my Black Mage. And I was doing a dungeon with Eevee, and Eevee was pulling at a decent pace, good tank, mitigating stuff, fine, no problem. But I had to focus on, because I'm normally play Black Mage, keeping Enochian up. And to do that, I have to switch between my two aspects and keep things up. And then as I would go into Astral Ice, or sorry, Umbral Ice, I would be like, okay, well, let's do Blizzard 4 so I can get the Umbral Ice Hearts, and then we'll switch back with Transpose, and then I'll be Fire 4, and then a Fire, and then Fire 4. And, there's probably better ways to do that, but the idea is I was getting used to keeping Enochian up. And I got a little practice, and I need a little bit more to get it down better. It's not muscle memory yet, but it was better. I did also pop ley lines when I knew I was going to have a long fight. There are several buffs and abilities that accelerate your accumulation of soul and shroud points while dealing some damage, so be expected to be doing even more weaving and cooldown timer watching. It's a lot. This game says it's a lot, so keep in mind, while the Reaper will be probably a really cool class, it seems like if there's a lot of timer and cooldown management, then you're going to have a low floor and a pretty high ceiling. So, sounds like it's going to be a complicated class. Keep that in mind if you're trying to push hard content. Don't play above your skill level, or if you are playing above your skill level, realize that there's gonna be a ramp-up period. You're gonna have to build to that. And there's no shame in playing a different class. Some classes are hard. Some classes are above my skill level. And like I said, I'm learning how to do Enochian. And apparently the Black Mage is very, very complex, especially as you level it higher and higher. You get cool portal abilities called Hell's Ingress and Hell's Egress that let you teleport to and from the spot it's activated. So that's pretty cool. I will say this. The Reaper may seem confusing at first, but it's pretty intuitive considering I was able to get the hang of its level 90 skill set in a couple hours, which makes perfect sense. Alright, so here we have the Reaper actions 1 to 50. So we have our Slice, which delivers an attack potency of 300 and increases the soul gauge by 10. Waxing Slice delivers an attack potency of 140. It's comboed with Slice. The combo potency is 380, which is not anything to sneeze at, and increases the soul gauge by 10. Shadow of Death delivers an attack with a potency of 300. Afflicts target with Death's Design, increasing damage you deal by 10%. It's 30 seconds. Extends the duration of Death Design by 30 seconds to a maximum of 60 seconds. Increases the soul gauge by 10 if target is KO'd before effect expires. So, okay, not bad. We have Harp. Deals unexpected damage with a potency of 300. Hell's Egress. Quickly dash 15 yalms backwards. Allows the next Harp to be cast immediately. Now, that's pretty cool. And the duration, of course, is 15 seconds. The additional effect leaves behind Hell's Gate at point of origin and grants Threshold to self. So Hell's Ingress, quickly dash 15 yalms forward, allows Harp to be cast immediately, and the duration is 15 seconds. Leaves behind a Hell's Gate point at origin and grants Threshold to self. The duration there is 10 seconds, and of course both of them cannot be bound, and they share a cooldown with each other. So you can't back up and dash forward. They're avoiding the Demon Hunter Fell Rush mechanic, which I think is fine. Then we have Spinning Scythe. Delivers an attack with a potency of 140 to all nearby enemies. Increases the soul gauge by 10. Infernal Slice. Delivers an attack potency of 140. Combo action with Waxing Slice, and the combo potency is 460. That's pretty powerful. So you start off with the Slice, Waxing Slice, and Infernal Slice. So you start off with 300, then 380, then 460, and they all increase the soul gauge by 10, which that's a pretty powerful single target attack. It seems like they're leaning into the damage here. I'm sure at some level that will be toned down a little bit, but if it launches like that, that's a lot of potency. Of course, we have Whirl of Death. Delivers an attack with a potency to 100 to all nearby enemies. Afflicts the target with Death's Design, increasing damage you deal to target by 10%. Its duration is 30 seconds, and of course it extends the duration of Death's Design by 30 seconds to a maximum of 60 seconds. So right now, Shadow of Death and Whirl of Death, we have our Shadow of Death being our single target, Whirl of Death being our AoE. I like that they both apply and or extend. Well, in this case, or extend, because you wouldn't apply and extend, you just extend. I like that. That way, it's you don't have a button to maintain a buff outside of the attack that you would use to apply the buff, which decreases ability bloat. Arcane Crest. Grants Crest of Time Borrowed to self, creating a barrier that nullifies damage, totaling up to 10% of maximum HP. It only lasts 5 seconds. So grants Crest of Return to self and nearby, or time returned to self and nearby party members within a radius of 15 yalms when barrier is completely absorbed. And of course, the Crest of Time Returned effect gradually restores HP. The cure potency is 100, and the duration is 15 seconds. Nightmare Scythe. Delivers an attack with a potency of 120 to all nearby enemies. Its combo action with Spinning Scythe, and when comboed, its combo potency is 180 and increases the soul gauge by 10. Finally, the last of the level 50 abilities, Bloodstalk. Summon your avatar, deliver an attack with a potency of 400. Additional effect, grants Soul Reaver for 30 seconds. Stat count will reduce to 1 when already under the effect of Soul Reaver. The soul gauge cost is 50. And of course, the action changes to Lemur Slice while under the effect of Enshrouded. So you don't have another button, it just changes, which again, I really, really like. Now, from 51 to 79, we have Grimswathe. Summon your avatar to deliver an attack with a potency of 140 to all enemies that come before you. It grants Soul Reaver, again for 30 seconds. The stat count will be reduced to 1 if already under the effect of Soul Reaver, and the soul gauge cost is 50. Changes to Lemur Scythe while under the effect of Enshrouded. Soul Slice. Delivers an attack of potency of 460. It increases the soul gauge by 50, and it has a maximum charge of 2. So if you absolutely need to get into Soul Reaver, Soul Slice is going to be a great thing. It's not an off CG, but it does share a recast timer with Soul Scythe. Then we have the Soul Scythe delivers an attack with a potency of 180 to all nearby enemies. So that's your AoE variant of Soul Scythe. It's a little less powerful, obviously, but if you have a bunch of enemies, you'll make it up with the individual hits, as opposed to the single massive hit, which, again, that's a lot of potency the Reaper's throwing out. I think the numbers will probably be tuned down, but if you're going to level one, level it quickly. Of course, it increases the soul gauge by 50, and has a maximum charge of 2, shares a recast timer with Soul Slice. Gallows. Delivers an attack with a potency of 400. 460 when executed from a target's rear. Enhanced Gallows potency is 460. Rear enhanced proficiency is 520. So if you use Gibbet first, it'll enhance the Gallows from anywhere. It'll give 460, except for the rear, which will give 520. And that's what they said. They said if you alternate between the two, you'll actually get increased potency, which is not insignificant. The additional effect is it grants enhanced Gibbet for 60 seconds. This action, the action Bloodstock, changes to Unveiled Gibbet, while under the effect of Enhanced Gibbet. Additional effect increases the Shroud gauge by 10, can only be executed while under the effect of Soul Reaver. And of course, action changes Cross Reaping while under the effect of Enshrouded. Gibbet delivers an attack of 400 or 460 from the target's flank. The Enhanced Gibbet potency is 460 from anywhere, or from the flank 520, and it grants Enhanced Gallows. The duration is 60 seconds. And of course, the action Bloodstock changes to Unveiled Gallows while under the effect of Enhanced Gallows. Additional effect increases the Shroud gauge by 10 and can only be executed while under the effect of Soul Reaver. The action changes to Void Reaping while under the effect of Enshrouded. Guillotine. Now there it is. Delivers an attack with a potency of 200 to all enemies in a cone before you, increases the Shroud gauge by 10, and can only be executed while under the effect of Soul Reaver. Action changes to Grim Reaping while under the effect of Enshrouded. Arcane Circle. Increases the damage dealt by self and nearby party members by 3%. The duration is 20 seconds. The additional effect is it grants Circle of Sacrifice to self and nearby party members for 5 seconds. Grants Bloodsworn Circle to self for 6 seconds. The Circle of Sacrifice effect, when you or your party members are under this effect successfully land a weapon skill or cast a spell, the Reaper who applied it may be granted a stack of Immortal Sacrifice up to a maximum of 8, and it lasts for 30 seconds. The Bloodstone Circle effect allows you to accumulate stacks of Immortal Sacrifice from party members under the effect of your Circle of Sacrifice. Regress. Move instantly to Hell's Gate left behind you. Can only be executed while under the effect of Threshold. And of course, Gluttony. Summon your avatar to deal unexpected damage to target and enemies nearby with a potency of 500 for the first enemy and 25% less for remaining enemies. And of course, it grants 2 stacks of Soul Reaver. The duration is 30 seconds, and the soul gauge cost is 50. So that's interesting. Gluttony does a lot less fall-off damage because we saw final damage attacks, and that's not even final, that's 79. I'm sorry, yeah, it's 76. Would fall off between 50 to 75% with less potency. So the Reaper, again, very powerful. I think these numbers are going to be tuned down. So if you want to level a Reaper again, level it quickly, get it up there, and don't be surprised they hit the potency a little bit. Reaper actions from 80 to 90. Enshroud. Offer your flesh as a vessel for your avatar, gaining the maximum stacks of Lemur Shroud. The duration is 30 seconds. Certain actions cannot be executed while playing host to your avatar. Cross Reaping. Delivers an attack with a potency of 460. Enhanced Cross Reaping potency is 520. And the additional effect is grants Enhanced Void Reaping for 30 seconds. The additional effect grants Void Shroud. Can only be executed while under the effects of Lemur Shroud. Recast timer cannot be affected by status effects or gear attributes. Now that's interesting. You cannot reduce that recast time with skill speed. So that's interesting. I think they probably did some testing in order to tune the damage, because there are people who with high skill speed will cheese a potency per second, and you can really get kind of a skewed vision of the class. Void Reaping, of course, delivers an attack with a potency of 460. The enhanced Void Reaping potency is 520. The additional effect grants enhanced Cross Reaping for 30 seconds. Grants Void Shroud. Can only be executed while under the effect of Enshrouded, and the recast timer cannot be affected by status effects or gear attributes. The Lemur Shroud cost for both of those, Cross Reaping and Void Reaping, were 1. Or is 1. Is better. Grim Reaping delivers an attack with a potency of 200 to all enemies in a cone before you. It grants Void Shroud. Can only be executed while under the effect of Enshrouded. Recast timer cannot be affected by status effects or gear attributes. And the Lemur Shroud cost is 1. Harvest Moon. Now, this isn't about farming, but somebody's getting reaped. Deals unexpected damage to target and all enemies nearby with a potency of 600 for the first enemy and 50% less for all remaining enemies. Can only be executed while under the effect of Soul Sow. So Soul Sow grants Soul Sow to self, changing the action to Harvest Moon. Cast time is instant when used outside of battle. So if you don't engage, you can Soul Sow. Boom, there it is. And then you can start off with a Harvest Moon, which actually is pretty nice. They have Lemur's Scythe. Delivers an attack with a potency of 100 to all enemies in a cone before you. The Void Shroud cost is 2. It cannot be assigned to a hotbar. Lemur's Slice delivers an attack with a potency of 200. Void Shroud cost is 2, and it cannot be assigned to a hotbar. Plentiful Harvest delivers an attack to all enemies in a straight line before you with a potency of 520 for the first enemy and 60% less for all remaining enemies. The Immortal Sacrifice cost is 1 stack. Potency increases up to 800 as stacks of Immortal Sacrifice exceed minimum cost. Interesting. It increases the Shroud gauge by 50. Cannot be executed while under the effect of Bloodsworn Circle. Consume all stacks of Immortal Sacrifice upon execution. So you can't cast it more than once, but you can also do a lot of damage, so that's good to keep that in mind. And then, of course, we have Unveiled Gallows. Summon your avatar to deliver an attack with a potency of 400. Grants Soul Reaver. The duration is 30 seconds. Stack count will be reduced by 1 when already under, or reduced to 1 when already under the effect of Soul Reaver. The soul gauge cost is 50 and can only be executed while under the effect of Enhanced Gallows. Unveiled Gibbet. Summon your avatar to deliver an attack of potency of 400. Grants Soul Reaver. 30 seconds again. That count is reduced to 1, of course, and the soul gauge cost is 50. And finally, Communio. The level 90 attack. Deals unexpected damage to target and all enemies nearby with a potency of 1,000 for the first enemy and 60% less for all remaining enemies. Enshrouded effect. It expires upon execution. Requires at least 1 stack of Lemur Shroud to execute. And that's at level 90. So guys, that's the Reaper, right? We've seen the Reaper has a lot of actions, especially early game. A lot of potency. A lot of potency with Slice, Waxing Slice, Infernal Slice. I actually was quite impressed with that. I don't know if they've tuned the potency numbers so that everyone has something similar to that, but I kind of doubt it. I kind of doubt it. Especially as this is a new class and it deals with death pretty explicitly. I think they're going to make it hit hard and maybe not have a whole lot of support. As we saw in their abilities, they themselves can possibly get out of situations, but they offer very little support in terms of helping out other classes. So, who's going to play a Reaper? Who's going to swing the big side, look at Xenos and Fandaniel and be like, you? Slash. Let me know in the comments below. And of course, if you enjoyed the video or you like what I do in particular, go on and hit subscribe and hit that notification bell to stay up to date with everything the channel does. I have been told to plug this more often, so I will. I stream on Twitch every Friday, Saturday, Sunday. And that is at 6 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. If you'd like to have a longer conversation with me, you can. Down below, there's a link to my Discord. You can also follow me on Twitter at Nimicry. That's Nimicry. I try to answer everything I can. And finally, for those who wish to go above and beyond the Call of Duty, there is the Patreon. The Patreon, of course, is optional, but always appreciated when you do. And that is patreon.com/Nimicry. You can join, I believe, for low as $5 a month. $3 a month. It's either 3 or 5. It's been a while. I need to update it. But that being said, guys, thank you for being here. It's a little late in the evening with this, and I had a lot of beeping in my ears, so it sometimes throws me off. But thank you, I had a fun time, and I hope to see you in the next one. Look out for lore videos. They should be coming soon.